Welcome to Dirt Doers and Data, the podcast exploring AI's impact on the construction workforce. I'm Girish Ramachandra. In every episode, we bring you stories from the builders, leaders, and technologists like Darshit, shaping the next era of construction. Whether you're running a job site, designing the next integration, or leading digital transformation, this is your front row seat to how AI is rewriting the rules of the industry. Thanks for joining, and let's jump in with Darshit's introduction. Darshit, welcome once again. And we have been talking a couple of times about the AI, people, process, and the platforms, and how do we balance culture and technology in construction. I'm so glad to have you on this podcast. To start with, now, wondering if you can share a bit about your role at ARCO Murray and how it connects to construction technology and innovation and some of your background. This is free flow, so let's dive right in.
Sounds good. Firstly, thanks so much, Girish, for having me on the podcast. In terms of my background, my life story is essentially grew up in India in family of construction, so was always inclined towards the built world.
Mhm.
So got a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and construction, and then came to the States for my master's degree in civil engineering, specifically structural engineering. And then coming to Stanford, I saw how technology is changing every field, specifically construction. And that's when I got heavily inclined towards construction technology. So I
Mhm.
worked in various roles in the AC industry for first 3.5 years after graduating from grad school, and saw how bad technology tools were around me, and that further strengthened my interest towards construction technology. So started building technology tools for solving problems of my own as well as people around me, and kept on getting deeper on that side. So right now, I work for ARCO, which is a ENR top 25 national design builder, um, and I am part of their innovation team. Recently, I have transitioned into this role of leading ARCO through this AI journey, which
Wow.
is honestly an amazing opportunity, but at the same time, a big responsibility as well, because it's a very promising field. There's a lot of potential here. So very excited about 2026 and what else to come.
Wow. Well, welcome once again. Thank you for that introduction. And why do you think now is such an important time to talk about the balance between people, process, and platforms, especially when we are in the era of AI? How do you see it all coming together, Darshit?
Yeah, I feel like this journey of construction technology started somewhere around 2012 in more earnest, right? And
Mhm.
so the whole industry has been investing so much towards like digitization. Like that was our step one. We moved from paper drawings to having drawings on iPads, having paper time cards to having like online time cards on iPads. Um, and so I feel like the all of the investment we have had over the last 10-12 years um, is all now coming together, and AI was a big piece to the puzzle because there's still a lot of chaos in construction.
Mhm.
And the prescriptive way of coding, or the like web 2.0, or the softwares we were building so far, were somewhere inadequate of encapsulating everything that the construction industry has. And I feel AI has a lot of potential of understanding the context of construction and being able to build tools that actually allow users to be empowered. um, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So, uh, first off, we are not going to discuss how one thing will replace the other and everything, right? So it's all about the people, process, and technology, the confluence of it, the synergy of all that. So, uh, it's one of the most people-driven industries. Like unlike programming, unlike any other industries, because you construct with your hands, you design with, yeah, you can use some technology, but there is always a human in the loop more and more.
Yep.
And the culture in construction is very different, right? So, well, wondering how the culture and trust influencing the adoption of new technologies. Is there always a hesitation when the new technology comes into job site or in the back office?
I would say first, I mean that's a very complex like question, right? So sort of breaking it down, the first part highlighting the heavy people touch in construction industry.
Yeah.
Like macro level, if you think about it, every job site is a temporary organization of like 50, 60 different organizations coming together
Hmm.
on a mission to get something done, and all of that is built around, like, I mean, relationships and trust essentially. And that, if if you zoom out a little bit from that, you realize how much chaos it could potentially have, because you have now so many different people that belong to different organizations are working together. Like every stakeholder here has a different DNA, has a different like scale to which they operate, different level of sophistication, different speed. Like we have authorities having jurisdictions that are like reviewing drawings and giving permits, etc. Like the people involved there, like their DNA and the way they operate is very different from 10 people specialty contractor that's coming on your job site. Like the agility they have is very different again from a national general contractor, which has a big army of IT and legal folks and everyone behind them.
Hmm.
So getting all of that together, I feel that that just requires so much human touch. At least historically it has, and that's how, I mean, that's why we see how the industry is so far. There's just so many moving pieces and parts that just requires human adaptability. So that's first part of why it is the way it is. And then in terms of adoption of new tools, oh, actually, I forgot about one thing. Not just the macro level, but even what you were saying about, like, we are building buildings through our hands. End of the day, like there's somebody actually laying down material on the job site. So the whole aspect of craft expertise, like that still remains heavily irreplaceable, at least historically. Like future might be different, but the words like craftsmanship, pride, like know-how, that's still very strong in construction industry.
That's a great point. I think 50, 60 different teams coming together, different companies coming together, craftsmanship in construction. Taking pride in what you have built with your hands. I think those are all very difficult to replace with any technology.
And so with newer technology and tools, irrespective of AI, that just brings in so much change, right? So when we talk about adoption,
Mm,
there's so many factors that go into it. Like the job site leaders shaping narrative is definitely very important,
yeah.
because with any change, like big aspect of it is having psychological safety
Mm, mm,
to easily go through that change. I feel that's something that comes from good leadership.
yeah.
uh, and then another aspect is like peer influence works much more than a top down approach. So if somebody at the top just decides that, hey, we are just uh,
Mm.
like bringing in all of these new tools, that's much more difficult than having a more organic approach where there's peer influence that's changing how people operate.
That's a great insight. Great insight. But the safety and compliance responsibilities, right? So, do they shape the way companies think about AI and innovation? Because, for example, it may be really hard for someone to get in the trenches of a construction site, lay cable, for example. And if you can have a machine do that more
Mhm.
safely than a person just controlling the machine, would that drive more of a technology adoption? And similarly with, when you said 50, 60 different teams coming together, there are still compliance elements like vendor compliance,
Yep.
prevailing wage compliance, the OSHA. And so whether the safety and compliance requirements, would they be driving more of the technology adoption?
Um, I think the answer to that is essentially in human evolution, right? Like in the
Mm,
Stone Age, essentially we were like hunting, and that was such a dangerous activity just to get food, right? So I feel like all of our efforts have been to not get involved in more dangerous situations. Um and again, I might be heavily wrong here, but I think essentially we are trying to make our lives more comfortable, make it more secure, not want to get into dangerous
mm,
situations
mm.
unless really needed, right? So I think as our technology tools evolve, that's the direction we are heading towards. So um, surely I feel the safety aspect gets improved,
Yeah,
um, and on compliance side as well. I think there's a cultural way of looking at compliance. Some people look at it as a burden,
hmm,
and they just look at it as a struggle that they just have to go through. But then it's also an opportunity for proactive risk management, right? And just being professional, because end of the day, most compliance laws are to protect people.
right.
So if we can take a more proactive approach to that, then that just provides us guardrails
Yeah.
that end of the day are just helping us.
What are you seeing in your area of expertise? Is it more technology is getting more and more implemented for safety and compliance? Obviously, productivity is one thing, but there is always this discussion of painkillers versus supplements, right? So if we can provide painkillers with the technology and AI, that can get the adoption first, and then we can supplement with all the other things which can improve productivity. How do you see it in your role?
Um, One, I feel there's just so much energy right now. It's honestly difficult to keep up, right? Like there's so much
Right.
innovation happening across the board throughout the life cycle of the project, like starting from pre-construction and even before that with like sales and marketing and business development side of construction, all the way till like construction operations and closeout, and all of your underlying operations, be it like legal, compliance, safety, HR, etc. Like there's just so much innovation happening across the board, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
which honestly, again, I mean, seems like a stock answer, but it's true. Like I am right now working with every single department within our company, not just one specific group. So
Mm,
that like somehow tells, and there's also very organic interest from all of these groups. Like our legal teams very interested in improving how we review contracts and I mean essentially do compliance. Same with HR. Um, like just recently, I worked on a project where we are improving how we find the right people to be put on the right projects. Uh,
mm,
we had a very unique project that we got recently, and so we had to find a person that had relevant experience. So we used AI to go through all of the resumes, because again, a lot of construction professionals have like 30, 40, 50 years long like resumes that are just stuck in some applicant tracking system. And so we were able to scrape all of that data to find one person out of 900 people
wow.
who had that very specific experience, and it worked out, which I would say without good tools, specifically AI, would have been really difficult to do that.
Mm,
So yeah, I feel it's changing literally every facet of construction industry.
wow. Are there any other example, Darshit? So, you know, one of the things I have seen is the union agreements, collective bargaining agreements, and companies struggled hard to go through like 120 pages of different union agreements and make sense out of how to get compliance with how to be compliant with this agreement. And one of the things we did is to upload that agreement into an AI agent, and the agent will immediately tell you, hey, it will summarize in the top 2 to 3 pages.
Yeah.
These are the rates. This is what you need to pay attention to. So document parsing, summarizing the contracts, I think that's great example. Applicant tracking system, understanding the profiles,
Mhm.
understanding the expertise, the certifications. Any other examples come to your mind?
I mean, honestly, that's such a good example you gave. With the recent, I mean, push with chat-based tools, with like LLMs and
Yeah.
the whole technology that like ChatGPT brought in. Um, Text is such a big like area that's gotten unlocked recently, right?
Mm,
Because before that, going through big corpuses of text was just like very difficult.
yeah.
So yes, like wherever text is involved, we are seeing so much um, like applications there with I mean, one is just search on enterprise data, right? Like there's so many PDFs and documents you have.
Right.
We are seeing people getting smarter with it. We are evaluating some tools right now that help you do enterprise search at scale. So
Hmm.
that's a big focus area. Um, and then even like very basic productivity tools with emails, right? So like everyone gets so many different emails, like especially job site leaders and office leaders. And so using tools that help them surface the higher priority items that they should be focusing on,
Yeah.
that's shown a lot of benefits. We are looking at some tools that help with job site documentation,
Hmm.
because I mean, every superintendent is supposed to fill out like daily logs that take a good amount of their time. And so if instead they could just have a phone conversation with an AI on the other side while driving back from the job site, um, and just do a dump of everything that happened, and then if AI is able to like take all of that, organize it very nicely, and put it into a daily log, and even prompt some of the questions about, hey, you mentioned this is going to happen next week, like did that really happen this week? um,
Oh,
a
that's
lot
very
of that's
smart.
really improving our like capture of job site data as well.
Is there someone doing that today?
We have looked into a few tools. I don't feel very confident still like taking a name,
Mm, mm. Yes, yes, of
honestly.
course. Yeah.
um, yeah, but there are still some good tools in development.
Wow. Yeah, you just gave us a tech company a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just going on a little bit of a tangent here. I was Optimus is in news everywhere. With from Tesla, the army of robots Elon is building. Do you think that kind of AI, that kind of uh, evolution will have impact on the actual construction work?
um yeah, I've heard two schools of thoughts on this, right?
Mm,
One is humanoid robots that
yeah.
are like general purpose, can do like any task that humans do essentially and mimic us,
Mm,
um, which is a high reward area, but also highly uncertain, right? Like if we'll really get to that or not within next 5 to 10 years.
yeah.
um, Other side of the argument is, why not build very specific robots that do very specific things? So for
Right.
example, the printers on the job site that do layout,
Mm,
or robots for rebar placement on the job sites and doing like ties of rebars, um, which has a higher probability of happening, because again, you can very easy, I mean, not very easily, but at least it's you you have a direct path and a direct vision to how to accomplish that. uh,
mm.
so I am hopeful for both of them. uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, but either way, I feel like we are going to make improvements towards the physical work we do, not just the paper and office side of things.
Yeah, yeah. So jumping back to the paper and office side of things, uh, we have been using so many tools on, whether it is BIM, ERP, project management, payroll, safety tools, and so many softwares, and which have been, we have been building software in the last 20 to 30 years or more. And then, and now you are at a juncture where the AI is impacting pretty much everything that we do, every software that we build. So if you were to evaluate a tool right now, what will you have on your mind as a top priority? Would it be automation and AI, how it handles data? Are there, specific things that you ask from your software vendors and look futuristic? What would be some of your thoughts there?
Yeah, I would say, as somebody that's used to building tools for construction, right? Having open APIs is definitely a big ask. I mean,
Okay.
not big ask, but a big need.
Right.
Um, because we definitely don't want islands and silos of data. Instead, we would want everything to be connected, and more so now with the newer set of standards that are coming out, like MCP, so that AI agents can talk with different data. So you would want an AI agent to have context of your project management data from platforms like Procore, at the
Yeah.
same time have access to your accounting and ERP tools and your compliance tools.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that's a big factor we look at. And again, it doesn't have to be ready right now, but at least the vision and inclination towards being open about sharing that data uh, is
Mhm.
definitely a higher priority. Um, otherwise, in general, I feel about all the SaaS products, what I'm really optimistic with AI is that there will be more flexible user interfaces. um,
Mm.
because I felt Web 2.0 was very prescriptive, right? Like, hey, this is the form, these are the steps, this is how you operate. And I feel like we were rewiring construction operations per how that software operates. And that's what made it difficult, even to scale softwares on the SaaS side, because all construction companies have somewhat like variations of how they operate and how their processes are laid down. So I
Yeah.
feel like AI really gives us that opportunity of building flexible user interfaces while still getting to the same outcome.
Makes a lot of sense. So essentially, you're saying that, as long as the software is futuristic and building components where software can interact with each other, and looking futuristically more like an agentic AI, and where agents can talk to each other, and as long as they have a futuristic technology mindset, I
Yep.
think that's what you're primarily looking at. No, that makes a lot of sense. So, do you see the, AI inside these platforms more like a decision making partners, like a co-pilot, uh, or as an automation engine? It will go do things on its own, and you are in the loop while it is making decision. So, maybe it's a short term and long term question, but so what are your thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah. How I think about this is, any work or like any operation you do, right? Like, essentially, it's a set of tasks you do, and at end of every task there is some decision making involved.
Mm, mm.
So I feel, I, I mean, essentially, what is automation, right? Is by taking that process and automating parts of it,
Yeah.
and then also which is what was happening with like Web 2.0 and regular SaaS products. But now, where there's a decision making process, that's where AI is really being helpful, where we are allowing AI to look at the context and make that decision. I feel like as we go through this journey, um, our trust on AI systems, and also honestly the sophistication of AI systems would continue increasing, so
Mhm.
that we'll put bigger decisions on towards AI instead of just smaller things. So right now we might be automating parts of the workflows with simple things like OCR. Like you
Yeah.
are looking at a image of a receipt and trying to figure out what's the amount on it, right? So
Mhm.
AI is able to figure out, hey, this number is what seems like the amount out of like 4 or 5 different numbers on that picture. So that level of decision making we are very comfortable with right now. But then if you just like take it to the max level, then it's essentially taking much bigger decisions of like um, restructuring your schedule, for example.
Mhm.
And I feel like that level of trust and even the readiness of AI systems is difficult right now. But as we go through that journey, that just seems like um, natural course of action.
Yeah. Do you see, Darshit, this is helping mostly bigger companies like yourself, or how the smaller construction companies can get benefited from this? Or how do you see the balance? Because obviously, company like Arco Murray has more muscle to invest in this type of technologies, try it out, experiment. But the smaller construction companies, which is the probably the largest share of construction,
Yep.
how do you see that balance coming along?
I would say with bigger companies having bigger muscle, it also has its downsides, right? Like there's also more weight,
Yeah,
so so
yeah.
it's more unstable, or rather, it's like too stable to essentially move it.
Mm,
Um, with smaller companies, I feel like there's so much opportunity because of two things. One, they are surely agile.
mm,
Things are more coherent compared to a bigger organization with like 15 different offices and like multiple different building types and departments, and like everyone doing different things.
yeah.
Smaller companies can be relatively more coherent.
Mm,
uh,
mm,
with AI, a really good thing is the general purpose tools that you get with like a $20 per month chat gpt license. That itself gives you so much power.
yeah.
And another good thing about AI is that it sort of helps you teach itself. So you can ask Chat GPT how to do something, and it will show you the exact path.
Mm, mm,
So I feel that learning journey becomes much easier, and it all happens in natural language compared to how when I was transitioning from construction towards technology, I had to
mm.
learn coding essentially, which requires much more learning curve than essentially vibe coding that happens right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, do you think there will be job displacement because of AI? That's a I know that's a pretty sensitive, but if you don't want to answer it, that's fine. But eventually, all technology had some impact of productivity increment, right?
I
Uh,
would say the job roles would definitely get impacted, right? Like irrespective of the absolute number of the jobs or like absolute number of the people involved,
yeah.
what we do is changing both in office as well as on field. Most
Mhm.
of it is happening for good, and also it has been happening for a while, right? Like it has been part of human evolution, where what we were doing 100 years ago is not something we are really doing today.
Mhm.
Uh, so as part of the job roles changing, I understand that with AI the change of I mean the rate of change has definitely accelerated, and that causes a lot of issues in the short term. um, but I'm also very hopeful that AI will allow new opportunities and an easier path towards those newer opportunities, because again, as I said, with natural language and AI allowing you to sort of learn quickly, uh, I feel that's where there's going to be some benefits.
Yeah, and
Because
also, I think so much of infrastructure is pretty old, right? And there is new infrastructure that need to be built. So the productivity increase will only help, to increase teams' productivity by and large, and do more in the construction world.
yeah, I mean totally. I mean US infrastructure, both both ways, right? Like the
Yeah.
actual infrastructure, roads and bridges
Right.
are for sure getting older, while the amount of people in construction industry is going down, plus our productivity is going down.
Yeah.
So having better tools will definitely help that. And then second is to have all of this AI to get powered. You need massive amounts of data centers and improvements to like energy infrastructure, which is going to create again a decent amount of boom, irrespective of the timeline, but at least in near future it's going to
Mhm.
create enough boom that I'm hopeful we'll be able to bridge that gap of the increased productivity, will get balanced out by increased need.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do think there is an increased need in construction across the world, not just in the United States, but across the world.
Yeah, I think there was an article like 2-ish weeks ago where OpenAI claimed that they would need 20% of US's electricians to be just working on their data center plants.
Oh
Which,
wow.
yeah, which is crazy, right?
Yeah,
Like just one company claiming that they'll need 20% of all electricians in the US.
that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
yeah. But but as we go through this evolution, right? When do leaders like you decide how much automation is too much, or how to push the envelope? How to bring in, when do you decide, okay, well, we are going to automate this process right now, this is good, right? How do you decide that?
um, I would say it's a two I mean, two main factors go into it. First one
Mhm.
is what are your business's objectives and its current pain points, right? So you look internally and figure out where there are biggest pain points that you can improve upon.
Mhm.
And then second is external. Even if internally there might not be that immediate push, but you look at opportunities outside, and that is something that then you can go into your business and validate, hey, if we implemented something like this, does that open up new opportunities for us? So I would say we constantly look inwards as well as outwards and try to figure out where there's the most opportunities.
What do you see happening in the next 3 to 5 years? Are we going to get super intelligence? Are we is there going to be, yeah, we keep changing and keep changing, and suddenly is there going to be a cliff? What do you just I think it's more of a speculation, but, but you have been in the field, you have been leading teams, but just what do you sense?
I would say in next 3 years we'll go through a very big learning curve as an industry, right? So, and I'm seeing that the number of people using tools like ChatGPT is exponentially going up now.
Yeah.
So I feel we'll have more general like use. I feel like so far it was more in a beta use, but now it's going into a general use across organizations.
Yeah.
So we'll have a lot more people interacting with AI, and they'll go through that same journey of figuring out what all AI is good at, what all it's not good at, f- um, running into things like hallucinations and understanding how to get around them.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think that will also spark up a lot of ideas. And so I think innovation is also going to exponentially go up, and at a much more grassroots level. I feel like previously softwares were being developed by a set of users and then being like provided as tools.
Hmm.
But with AI, I feel like it gives a lot of those tools in their hands, and so they'll be able to like create their own workflows and automate some of the tasks at their own level, instead of it being like something that's company wide.
Interesting. Do you think we will also see some, AI inspectors? Like, would they be monitoring what is happening around the compliance? When I say, agents will can monitor, wage, safety, quality, compliance in real time, and probably give alerts and catch them before actually something happens.
I mean, that sounds like an ideal use case, right, for AI, because AI can do few things very nicely. One is do things on repeat without getting tired.
Right.
uh, and so it can do things at scale, which is again of big importance. And third is it can look through some of the abnormalities, and it can also um it does not I feel like it can go through some of the very basic obstacles. So if you have relatively dirty data, it will still be able to work through that,
Mm,
which opens up a lot of doors. But yeah, I mean, so all of this comes together into all of these things that you mentioned, of having AI safety inspectors, which is looking at a lot of the data that's getting collected, and figuring out safety compliance, and then
mm, mm, mm,
wage compliance as well. Uh, Biggest, like, new area that's getting unlocked is that, um, on the AJ side of things, like, there's so much fragmentation, right? Like, we have so many different, like, jurisdictions, essentially, that stores like permit data, inspection data, wage data. That's all like disparate sources stored in like local and municipal websites right now. And I feel like AI is really nicely able to scrape a lot of that data and organize it so that it's more usable.
mm,
uh,
mm. Yeah. And how do you think this, people should be upskilling themselves to the world of AI? I had not subscribed to a paid version of ChatGPT for a long time, and then I said, okay, I need to learn this, and I started paying from my personal wallet $20 a month, and I am subscribed user of ChatGPT now. Same thing with Perplexity. I find it fascinating when you actually start learning about, okay, how things are working and how things are building on top of what it's already learning. And I also subscribe to a project management tool. So is that the good way for people to skill up, or are there other things that someone can do?
um, I mean, that's for sure that this is such an evolving space, right? Like, there are so many new tools coming out in the market, and like, all of these companies are competing. So, like,
Yeah.
every week there are improvements in the functionalities. Like, one
Mm,
week ChatGPT would be like considered the best, but then next week Google would come up with a newer model, and then, like, all of a sudden Gemini becomes the best
yeah.
in class, and then Anthropic does the same, and then Elon does it with Grok and all of that.
Yeah.
So,
Yesterday,
uh,
I saw, Code Red issued by ChatGPT. They said Gemini is doing better now. We need to catch up. So
yeah. So I mean, it's obviously very difficult to keep up, because it almost becomes a full-time job to like continuously try out all these tools and keep like updated on what to use for what purpose.
yeah,
Because again, there's no one tool that does everything very nicely right now. But I feel like the only solution to that is experimentation, like, as much as you can.
yeah,
Again, the good thing is a lot of this can be smaller experiments, so you don't need to buy a big enterprise software right now
hmm,
to try something out. So these are still $20 like licenses. um,
yeah.
so yeah, I would just recommend everyone to experiment hands-on,
Mhm.
instead of just like listening to narratives.
Right. See, this is not like the search. I never paid for Google search, right? And they, but this is something I feel very personal, and I almost feel like having an assistant. And
Which,
uh,
like, hope that like stays like that. I heard Chat GPT is bringing in ads now, so
uh,
that gets ruined.
gets ruined. Yeah, I agree. Because then the results will be influenced. Yeah,
For sure. And I
yeah,
think the trust as well on the, like, data privacy and data security. I mean, uh, s-
yeah.
that gets more heightened.
More.
The concern around it.
Yeah. Darshit, we are almost at the 40-minute mark. I know your time is important. So I think we should move towards a little bit more some actionable takeaways, that anything that you can advise who in the construction world starting the AI journey. What do you advise?
Um, yeah, I would say continue experimenting hands-on. Don't shy away from it. Like
Hmm.
it's also, I mean, one way to think about it, if you need motivation to use AI,
Yeah.
is it could be an arbitrage opportunity for a shorter window. Like there are people right now using AI, and there are people not using AI right now. So if there are people using AI, increasing productivity, getting better and more results, uh, that's in some ways an arbitrage opportunity that I see. uh,
Hmm.
so I feel like that should be enough motivation.
Yeah. What do you recommend for small companies? Obviously, your company has more money to invest. I know change will be hard for any company, big or small. But if a small contractor gets one shot at trying AI, what would you recommend?
Um, I mean, in that case, I would say go with a general purpose tool,
Yeah.
which could be either ChatGPT or Gemini, or like Anthropic. Um,
Hmm.
I would lean more towards ChatGPT and Gemini, just from practical standpoint, since one, ChatGPT has been around so much that everyone's so used to it, and then Gemini because it's very nicely integrated into your Google suite of products, if that's what you are using, Gmail and all of that. So I
Hmm.
would say that could be a good starting point. And then every other SaaS tool is coming up with AI features within their platforms.
Yeah.
So that's another way of like experiencing AI.
Hmm. Hmm. Can people learn about things that you do within your company?
Learn as in,
What are you doing in ARCO, and can people say, "Oh, this is what ARCO is doing"? Can we know about it? Or
yeah, I
uh,
feel we have been relatively much more public in general about what we do from innovation standpoint.
yeah.
Um, and I think as a peer group of people, right? I mean, there are good forums where like we all meet at conferences, and there are people in my role at other companies that I regularly interface with. So that's where we share a lot of uh, like what we are up to essentially.
Hmm.
Because they are also facing the same challenges, and they are also seeing the same opportunities that we are. So it's always good to collaborate on those things.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, otherwise, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we can have a one-on-one conversation.
Amazing. Are there peer groups? That are there very specific peer groups that you just alluded to for to learn AI for construction?
I don't think anything comes to mind, but that also seems like a great opportunity, honestly. A peer group of people innovating in AI. I know there is one peer group for specifically AI in architecture that I'm not part of. I'm more so focused on GC side of things. Yeah, but I
Mm.
can I can share the link to that.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Darshit. This has been a phenomenal conversation. Thank you for the insights. I look forward to continuing our conversation offline, but thank you for your time today.
Yeah.
Any last words you want to for the podcast about yourself, Arco? Please feel free.
Um, I think I had enough plugs in.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Darshit.